There are two things we can all be sure of in this world. One is our time here is limited, and two is we don't know everything. When I first got contacted to do this TED Talk, I thought to myself, why me? And to be honest, I still don't know. And that's exactly why I decided to go through with it. Because the words I don't know have gotten me to where I am today. And I hope by sharing my story with you here this evening, you realize the power that these three words hold. My name is Saad Alessa, or in Arabic, Saad Alessa. And if you don't know who I am, don't worry about it. I'm trying to figure that out myself. When I was graduating high school, I had big dreams. I wanted to go to a prominent university. I had it all planned out. I was going to graduate, come back to Kuwait, and help my father in the family business, just like many of us in Kuwait. I graduated high school with bad grades, barely graduated, and I remember my mom the evening of graduation, and I quote, she said, "What a relief. I never thought I'd see you graduate high school." But I did, and I went to City College because I didn't have good grades, and the university that I wanted to attend was Pepperdine University. And I wanted that university because my father graduated from there, and he would always tell me about his experience and his memories from that school, and I just wanted to follow suit. But I had to go to City College first. 2 years later, I applied to Pepperdine University, and I got rejected because my grades were still not good enough. I stayed one more semester to get my grades up, and I applied. But I applied to only Pepperdine University. And when I was asked, why did you do that? What are you going to do if you don't get accepted? I said, I don't know. But I got accepted. And I graduated 2 years later with a bachelor's in international studies and a minor in marketing. And I had a great college experience, and I'm very thankful. During my senior year of Pepperdine, or at Pepperdine, I got into the sport of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, where I met a lot of different people from different backgrounds, and all of them did different things. They had different careers. I learned a lot about different cultures, family values, passion, purpose. It was my first time having mentors. It was a beautiful experience, but it got my wheels turning. I thought to myself, what am I passionate about, and what is my purpose here? Am I doing what I'm supposed to do, or am I doing what I want to do? And what is the difference? So I thought and thought and thought, and I said, you know what? Why not do something that I love? And at the time, I was in love with the automotive industry and cars. And so I rushed, got a sketch pad, started drawing a car. I have no experience in drawing whatsoever. And once I was done with the design, I rushed to show my friends, and some of them thought that it was a boat, and others thought that it was some mythical character. And that's when I realized I should probably work with people who know what they're doing. I asked a few of my friends and mentors, and they introduced me to a few automotive designers, and some of them laughed at my vision, and one of them believed in me and thought that it was inspiring and refreshing. And 9 months later, we had a complete car designed, a complete exterior, a brand, identity, a logo, a whole package. I was so excited. My time was up in the United States, and I had to move back to Kuwait, and I came back to Kuwait with the automotive design and my excitement and enthusiasm of helping my father in the family business. As I was raising funds for the automotive project, I was also working for my father. And me and my dad basically didn't see eye to eye. I didn't realize the difficulty of working in the family business and that it's not for everyone. And so I had to leave. That crushed me. And I couldn't really raise capital for the automotive project, and that crushed me as well. And when I realized that here I am, graduated, did everything that I thought I was going to do, but now I'm at a stalemate, I didn't know what was next. And I started to feel depressed. I started to feel anxious. And whenever my peers and friends would ask me, what am I doing or what's next? I said, I don't know. And I was embarrassed saying that I didn't know. One thing led to another. I started reading a lot of different self-help books. I watched a bunch of TED Talks. Here we are, full circle, by the way. And I decided that I was going to move back to the States. So I sat my mom down. I said, Mom, I'm moving back to the States. And she goes, what is your plan? And I said, I don't know, but I'm going to figure something out. My initial idea was to come here to the States and try to get funding for the automotive project. But before that, I had to do one thing. I had to go to Europe and meet automotive makers and designers and see if they were going to be on board for my project. Maybe that would help me get the funding needed. And I did. I went to Germany and Italy as a 24-year-old with no team and no one on my side except one of my friends. And I met with the CEOs and designers of the biggest automotive companies the world has ever heard of. And some of them got excited and got on board. And one of the CEOs asked me how old I was. I said I was 24. And he said, how am I going to pull it off? And I said, I don't know. And he said, I love that. And I love that you said, I don't know. And I want you to know that we're on board. And if you're ready to do it, let me know. I left Italy and Germany so excited with tears in my eyes every time because of the support that I found from people in the automotive industry. It felt that the project was going to become a reality. So I came back to Kuwait and I tried to get funding one more time. I got shut down. They said I was too young and inexperienced. So I decided to go to the US anyways. Came back to the US, started training jiu-jitsu full-time again and competing in every competition I could find because it gave me something to look forward to and it gave me a sense of progress. Now I had no plan and my tourist visa was coming to an end. And one of my friends told me, why don't I continue my education and get a master's? Now, if you're paying attention, you'll see that school wasn't really my thing, but I had to, and I decided to do it anyways. So I applied to different programs, and there was a program at Pepperdine Law School that was a master's in dispute resolution program. I applied, I did the interview, and I got accepted. And here I am now in law school. So when my parents called me, what are you doing? I said, oh, I'm going to law school. They were like, okay, that sounds great. But in all honesty, I had no idea what I was doing. It's a 2-year program and I hated it. So I wanted to finish it as soon as possible. And I got it done in 1 year. During that year, I was completely torn. I had no idea what my future was about. I had no idea where I'm headed. And so I wanted to meet different successful individuals and hear from them how they became successful and figure out how they define success. And I thought, why not document that journey and put it up on YouTube for other people that might have the same questions as me? So I did that. I didn't know what I was doing with the camera. I didn't know how to produce content. I didn't know how to interview. But I figured that if I accept the fact that I don't know, I'm going to learn. One thing led to another. We did 9 episodes and we reached over 1 million views and over 25,000 subscribers. Now, during that time, it was called Legendary, and I hope to bring it back soon, but it gave me a sense of purpose and direction again. And as I graduated law school, my advisor asked me, what's your plan? And I looked at him and I said, I don't know. And he looked at me and laughed and he goes, that's okay. And he said, Saad, if you're not going to become a criminal defense attorney, you should try entertainment, specifically stand-up. Now, I just left my family business. I was working in the automotive industry trying to raise funds for the project. I just graduated law school. Stand-up wasn't on the list. But I said, why not give it a shot? So one day I go to a comedy club and it said open mic night. And if you don't know what that is, don't stress. It's okay. It's where amateur and some seasoned comedians go in to try their new material or workshop their material to perfect it or better it before an actual performance or showcase. I went there and there was a lot of different comedians getting on stage and trying their 3-minute bits. Some of them were good, some of them were horrendous, and that's okay. That's part of the process. And I thought to myself, I'm going to try and do that. So I came the following Saturday, put my name in the bucket, and I lucked out because there was a crowd from the show prior that stayed for the mic. And my name was called out of the bucket. I think it was the first 2 or 3 names. I got on stage, I tried my 3 minutes, and it did really well. Let's call it beginner's luck. Because the following Saturday I came and I wasn't sure if I was speaking English. But I fell in love with it and I decided that I wanted to continue to try it and work on that. My parents called me and said, what's your plan? I said, I don't know. My friends would ask me what my plan was and I said, I don't know. And so I got a call from a friend of mine and he said, I watched Legendary and the production quality. Would you be able to produce the same quality content for my company? I said, yes. I did that. I got paid for it. One thing led to another. I had a few different clients. So I started a media company called Underdog Media. And that is basically how I was able to pay my bills and get on my feet here in the States after graduating law school. So the next time I spoke to my family, they're like, what's the plan? I said, well, I have a media company now and I'm producing content. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, I don't know. But I continued doing stand up even more aggressively to the point where I moved from one part of the city to another to get closer to the comedy clubs. And I started doing 2, 3 sets a night and practicing for a full year. 1 year in, I get a call and they say, would you like to do stand up in Kuwait in front of 2,000 people and open for Maz Jabrani? I was like, yes. They said, can you do 30 minutes? Now, side note, at the time I only had 10 minutes of material, but I said yes. And so when my friends asked me, how are you going to do it? I said, I don't know, but I'll figure it out. I basically waited until 1 month before the show to start writing. And 1 week out from the show, I had close to 20 minutes only. And then 2 nights before the show, I think I had close to 30. And I got to Kuwait and got on stage and I performed and I did 30 minutes and it did really well. And it was the first time that I performed in front of my hometown, in front of my mom, in front of my father, in front of everyone that I went to high school with. And it did well. And I was happy and it gave me a sense of purpose and direction. And that's when I was like, I think I want to do this for the rest of my life. I flew back to the States and got even more aggressive with stand-up. One thing led to another. It's 2022 and the show was in 2019 and I'm now a Laugh Factory regular here in Los Angeles, California. And tonight or this evening, I have the pleasure of having this TED Talk with you all. So if you were to ask me how I did all of this, my honest answer is I don't know. I just know that from interviewing different people at Legendary or through Legendary is one, the characteristic that was common between people that were successful is that they did. They took action. They didn't know what the result was going to be, but they did. And second, they all defined success differently. Success is relative. But in order to define success properly, we need to figure out what we want. And to figure out what we want, we need to know who we are. And there's no shame in saying, I don't know. Because we're constantly a work in progress. We're constantly evolving and changing, and we're constantly figuring out who we are. So if I was going to leave you with something here this evening is, remember to say, I don't know every now and then, because it is the ultimate statement of confidence. In it, you open the door for new experiences. In it, you open the door for new opinions. In it, you accept and acknowledge that you are on the journey to learn new things and seek information. My name is Saad Alessa, and it's been a pleasure.